The City of Bristol, providing beautiful parks, economic development, and a family-friendly community.
Welcome to the June Joint Board meeting. I'd like to ask everyone to stand and join with me in pledging allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Would members of the Joint Board please introduce themselves, starting on my far right?
Board of Finance, Mike Lamoth.
Mike Freeney, Board of Finance. Orlando Kelfi, Board of Finance.
Ron Burns, Board of Finance.
Peter Kelly, City Council.
Greg Hahn, City Council.
Mary Fortier, City Council.
Dave Perleski, City Council.
Jake Carrier, Board of Finance.
Cheryl Tebow, Board of Finance.
Josh Maduros, City Council.
Dave Mills, City Council.
And I'm Ellen Zappo-Sassu, Mayor. I'll turn our opening agenda items to our town clerk.
Approval of minutes of the regular joint board meetings on May 8th, 2018 and May 21st, 2018.
Second.
Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2 is the consent calendar, and there are 12 items. Would you like to make a motion to do them in one waive the reading and do them in one motion?
Is there a motion to waive the reading of the consent agenda items A through L?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion for the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3, to transfer $641,886.58 of uncollectible taxes, $339,628.24 for motor vehicles, $118,710.85 for supplemental motor vehicle, and $183,547.49 for personal property.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4, to transfer $738,040 from the Equipment Building Sinking Fund contingency account for the purchase of capital outlay.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion on the item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5, to reduce the bonding appropriation for the Broad Street Pump Station project by $60,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6, to transfer $516,568 within the Water Pollution Control Capital Non-Recurring Fund to close out the Broad Street Pump Station project. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
7, to make an additional appropriation of $20,000 within the Special Grants and Donations Fund for the Connecticut Historic Preservation Library Grant.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8, to adopt in a single motion the resolutions making appropriations and authorizing issuance of bonds or notes to finance the following capital projects, and to waive the reading of the full texts of the resolutions, but to include them as part of the minutes. Southside School HVAC upgrade, Stafford School roof replacement and repointing, Page Park pool and bathhouse renovations, acquisition of fire apparatus tower ladder, Louisiana Avenue bridge replacement, Walcott Street reconstruction, Lake Avenue bridge replacement design, City Hall unit heater AC perimeter replacement, and preliminary evaluation of the City Hall facility.
Motion to approve.
Discussion on the motion.
Yes, through the chair, please. Mayor, if I may, during our Board of Finance meeting, when we adopted these resolutions, there were two items in particular that spoke to me, and that would be the Southside School HVAC upgrade and the Stafford School roof replacement, primarily because there is a feasibility study that is being reviewed by the Board of Ed. And while these were approved for bond resolution, I asked that before monies are spent, that a decision is made on that feasibility study so that we are not investing capital dollars into schools that may be targeted for another use or closure. To that, I'm also would like to add the City Hall unit heater AC perimeter, that until such time we know what's going to happen with this building, that we not invest in those funds to make that decision. So it may change what our viewpoint is in the use of this building. So I would just like to add that for discussion.
Is there any other discussion?
Yes, I would like to answer Chairman's comments. I think at the bottom line, whether we're going to use them as schools or not, we still have to maintain their basic structure as buildings. Because at the end of the day, if we don't use them, we can't market them if the roof's been leaking for 5 years or the HVAC isn't working. So either way, I think structurally, we have to be responsible and keep these buildings up to speed. So whether they're used as schools or sold or what have you, they're at least complete and saleable or usable. So that's all I want to say.
Through the chair, if I may respond to that. It depends on the ultimate use. For an HVAC, the way it would be installed in a school would be different if you were going to change the use of the program. We're close to a decision. Well, not close to a decision. It's in the works. We're only talking a matter of months, and I just think it's a wise move on behalf of the taxpayers not to put money into something that might get torn out shortly after if it is sold.
Are there any other comments?
Just a point of information. How long would it be the delay? How long can we, until we expect the report from the Board of Education?
Well, it's my understanding it was tabled, but I will call on the superintendent.
Yes, thank you. The Operations Committee of the Board is going to discuss the feasibility study at their next meeting, which is the 19th.
Okay. So was there another point of discussion over here before I address the issue? Councilman Fortier.
Well, I don't know if it's appropriate because I was going to address the City Hall heater and AC replacement. My understanding from staff is that that's a necessary component because it impacts the health and safety of the folks working in this building. And even if we were to relocate City Hall to another building, that would be at least 18 months away, perhaps 2 years or more. And so that's a necessary maintenance expenditure at this time.
Does anybody else have anything else? So tonight's...
Yes, I do,
Councilman
Mayor.
Kelly.
Excuse me. Yes, Ms. Tebow, I just was wondering, have you been in Edgewood School to see the condition of some of the things that they want to address?
Not recently, but I also know after reading the feasibility study that the Board of Ed had targeted Edgewood to be closed, okay? And that's why I'm saying you're going to put a lot of money into a building you may close. To me, that is not a wise investment of taxpayer money. But it's been, to answer your question, my son was Weeblo the last time I was in, and we have like sons, so you can do the math.
Yeah, it's been some time. Well, my point is I'm in there every week, and I've been in there when it's raining and know the condition of the roof. So there are certain things that have to be addressed, as someone already mentioned, to make it saleable.
So the feasibility study, I'll just put this out, should have been completed a couple of years ago, and we wouldn't be in this situation. But that's water. Speaking of water, under the thing, over the roof. But it's just, again, you don't put millions of dollars or several hundred thousands of dollars into something that may be discontinued. It's just valid construction consideration.
Through the chair, Edgewood isn't mentioned.
The Edgewood roof has already been addressed through their budget process. I think it was just a point of contention because there's many roof issues. So the motion that is before us tonight is to make appropriations and authorizing issuance of bonds or notes to finance the following capital projects as a group. And I think that we've grouped these together for both administrative purposes. I thought I saw Diane. Oh, there you are. Hi. So they're together as a group for purposes of issuance of the bond. They've also been duly reviewed by the 10-year capital improvement. They've been put forward. They've gone through the budget process to the Board of Finance and are now here on the joint board. And while I appreciate the concerns of some of our members, I believe that it would be prudent to go forward with a motion to approve this tonight. Obviously, as you see in previous agenda items, we have reduced bonding, and in some cases in previous years, we've moved items off of the calendar. For this purpose, I would like to move forward. So is there a motion?
Yes, actually.
Was there a motion made?
Councilman
Yeah.
Burns,
Okay, was there a second?
Yeah, but to clarify, Mayor, I didn't ask that these be removed from here. I'm just cautioning that before we spend, let's have the final answer. I understand the need to go forward with the bonding in case we do want to move ahead, but we've got time, and that was my point.
So, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I think it has to be
We have a
roll call.
roll call as it's a resolution.
Starting on my far right.
Yes.
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 And yes.
And the chair votes yes. Next item.
To reduce the Board of Education 2018-2019 Board of Finance approved appropriation of $111,675,625 in the amount of $264,430, which represents the overall reduction in the general fund operating budget approved at a joint board meeting of the Board of Finance and City Council on May 21st, 2018, so as to reflect the decrease in state funding for the Education Cost Sharing Grant. The revised 2018-2019 Board of Education appropriation is $111,411,195. The general fund budget for fiscal year 2018-2019 is $194,409,185.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And
then-
last is the monthly revenue and expense report.
Good evening. So you have the report in front of you for May. A couple of things I do want to point out. There really is not much more to report with regard to revenues that I've been reporting the last few months. Tax revenues are coming in, anticipating right now they may exceed budget by about $850,000. The building permit fees are coming in very well. Right now they are exceeding budget by $422,000. So that overall line item for revenues I anticipate will be about $500,000 over budget. And then investment earnings have been coming in very well, and I think I've been reporting on that as well. Interest rates have been going up and our cash flow has been improved as well. One thing that I don't believe we talked about last month, it did come to our attention that our ECS grant was reduced by $500,000 through some adjustments that were done in the prior year. So that is something that, in addition to the $3.7 million that we had in state revenues, that was another $500,000 that was included in that. So overall, the surpluses will help mitigate the loss in the state revenues. On the expenditure side, there's really not too much more to report. I did let you know that the Public Works budgets for snow operations and fleet maintenance, the repairs and so forth will need transfers at the end of the year, and hoping we can do that within some of the other line items. And the Board of Education has been reporting monthly to the Board of Finance, and I anticipate this month, I believe they'll be coming to the Board of Finance for a request to get them through to June 30th. Right now, the estimate is about $1.28 million that they need. And also on the expenditure side, there's a $738,000 balance left in contingency, so that will help us balance things at the end of the year. And the other thing I did want to just point out that happened during the month of May was we did issue some short-term notes. We had short-term financing of about $3.4 million that was issued a year ago. We had to roll those over, and we had to add to them to finance some of the capital projects. So we issued 11.8 million in short-term notes that come due in October, and we issued them at a 1.81% interest rate. We received 4 bids, and that was a very good interest rate to receive at the time that we issued, so we timed that well. We do have another note issue that will be completed in July. We have $4 million in taxable notes that will be rolled over, and all of that will be coordinated to come due in October. So I know when we talked about the capital budget, one of the things we're doing is we're planning to do a bond issue in October. So all of this will be refinanced and permanently put into a bond issue at that time. So that's all I have to report. If anybody has any other questions.
Are there any questions for the controller? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the joint board? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and we will take a 2-minute break and reconvene for the city council meeting. Welcome everyone to the June City Council meeting. I'd like to ask those of you who are able to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, would the members of the City Council please introduce themselves, starting on my far left?
Josh Medeiros, District 1.
Dave Mills, District 3.
Dave Prolesky, District 2.
Mary Fortier, District 3.
Greg Hahn, District 1.
Peter Kelly, District 2.
And I'm Mayor Ellen Zappo-Sassu. Thank you for joining us tonight. Now we're going to pause for a moment of reflection for all of the graduates who are ending one chapter and beginning another this month. Thank you. The second item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular City Council meeting for May 8th, 2018. Is there a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Is there a discussion, correction, or clarifications needed? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're moving on to our public participation, and as we do every month, we are highlighting one of our local nonprofit organizations. This month, it is Linda Rich, who will be sharing information about our family resource centers. Welcome, Linda.
Hello. I am a lifelong resident of Bristol, and I am really proud to be Bristol Family Resource Center's director. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to talk about what we do for our most vulnerable children and families, in addition to our work to ensure all families and all kids have the building blocks to be successful in school and in life. I simply don't have enough time to tell you about everything we do, and I'll only be highlighting a few things, but I did want to give you a handout that gives an overview of all of our programs.
Thank you.
Let's get to the heart of the matter, given that Bristol is all heart. Our family resource centers have been around for 21 years, starting at Southside, then getting another grant at O'Connell, and which became West Bristol, and then another grant that we received for Green Hills. These schools have the largest school population with over 2,500 students combined. They are a Title I school designated with the greatest needs. FRCs are solely grant funded in addition to family and community donations. We did something for someone over 8,419 times last year, and we're heading close to that number again this year. But let me talk about our most vulnerable children. We have a significant number of children in peril living in our towns. How so? Our Title I schools are 60% of the children are living either at or below the poverty level. And we qualify for our entire schools to have free lunch. On one hand, that's really good. In the other hand, it also reminds us that there are families and children struggling in our town. One of the things that the FRC has done to help with that problem is addressing kids going hungry. And we provide them a food backpack each weekend for the entire school year, in addition to snacks during the day, because many of them forget their snack or simply don't have snacks sent home. Bristol's FRC Weekend Food Backpack Program ensures that families can stretch their food budget, and it helps prevent food insecurity. 136 children benefited from this program for this entire school year. Research has proven that a child's ability to manage their behavior and focus on learning is negatively impacted when they are unsure of where their next meal is coming from. Our food backpack program positively impacts that and improves student well-being. In addition, FRC screens approximately 120 children each year between the ages of birth to 5, using our Ages and Stages screening tool to determine if they have any developmental delays. On average, 10% of these children need to be referred for further assessment and intervention. It could be a speech delay, it could be early signs of autism, it could be gross motor delays. But in addition to that number, which is around the state average, another 25% of those children are showing possible delays. And the FRC parent educators educate the parents on how to support their child's development, as a majority of those possible delays are due to a lack of exposure. Maybe the mom isn't putting the child on the floor so they could have tummy time and crawl and reach up and use all of their muscles. Maybe the children aren't given crayons or pencils so that they can learn how to hold them, and there's teachers have a very specific way on how they want to hold them. Or could it be sometimes we're dealing with moms who maybe have maternal depression and they're not looking at their child and talking and conversing. Their brains, babies' brains are ready to respond to all of that, and if they're not getting it, they don't grow properly. So our Ages and Stages program ensures that these possible delays don't turn into delays. We know that the cost of educating a student doubles when children are identified as needing special education. The FRC services begin at birth, and if we ensure that a child is not delayed and ready for kindergarten, it can save as much as $12,000 a year for each year that child is in school. So our early childhood development and outreach certainly makes a difference. The other thing that I feel very strongly about and want to talk about today is the social, emotional needs of our children in our community. It's vast, and it's critically affecting their ability to learn. What is causing this? Quite frankly, the breakdown of families due to living at or below the poverty level, drug and alcohol addiction, domestic violence, high divorce rates, high debt, high-stress situations, like someone seriously ill in the family, or perhaps a family member with a serious mental health illness that they're struggling with. So what is the school and the FRCs doing to address that? We're doing a lot. We're doing the best we can. The schools have made a partnership with Wheeler Clinic clinicians available to our families so they can have easier access to mental health services. The FRC has an emergency fund system is the best way that I can describe it. So if a family is experiencing a financial crisis or has an immediate need, they can go to the FRC to get help through that crisis. The FRC also coordinates, because we can't do everything, but we have great resources in this community, and we'll coordinate additional services for the family with our community partners, United Way and Bristol Youth Services and HRA and Main Street Community Foundation. Even our mayor called the FRC for an emergency support for a parent, and we were happy to help. We have, because it's our city service, I have professional, highly trained parent educators who do home visits, thorough family assessments, guiding parents to set goals to improve their well-being. The FRCs are the site coordinators for the mentor programs in our schools. Our parent educators and I often have MSW interns who are in our school for a year. And we run social skills groups to teach impulse control, emotion management, and quite simply, how to make a friend. We are so appreciative actually I said that wrong. We are so appreciated by our teachers and administrators because they already have their hands full educating our children and preparing them for a world which, due to the World Wide Web, is changing at lightning speeds. It's a very difficult task when a child is hungry or frightened or cold because they don't have a coat. And they also don't always have good role models in their family situations. Sometimes they're learning when you're angry, you punch, you bite, you call people names. And every day, teachers and administrators come to our door to ask for help in those kinds of situations. We are there to do it so the teachers can teach. Parents come to our door every day for help. And I can tell you one thing for sure. I have had kids hug me. And when they see that we are helping their parents, you can literally see their shoulders are up to their ears. And when they see that we're helping out that family, and you watch their shoulders go down, or when you give them a snack, it's an honor. And they know that they no longer have to worry so much about their family troubles because there's some help along the way. The short answer to what is an FRC, I say it all the time, is we're the parent homeroom. We are the student's safety net, and we do a lot for relatively little cost. We all know this, the need is great. No one agency, no one program can solve it. It requires building strong school, family, community partnerships, which is our FRC mission. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about some highlights of what we do. And I'm really glad that I could do that. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, should anyone have any.
Well, we know you accept donations.
Yes, we do.
So for our viewing audience, where should they send them?
You can send donations to, you would make a check out to the Bristol Board of Education, and you make sure you put a note for the FRCs, or you can stop by the Family Resource Centers. I have parent educators and myself. I kind of divide my time at West Bristol, Green Hills, and Southside. If you want to give me a heads up, I'd be glad to give you a tour and talk to you some more and take your donation as well. Anything else?
Okay. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you.
Moving on to our regular public participation, we have State Representative Chris Ziogas. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the City Council, I just wanted to come tonight to kind of update you on the progress of what's happened with the Memorial Boulevard School and what happened over the last 2 years. And for some of the members of the council that weren't on the council at the time of this, let me just go back a little bit quick and give you some history. The school closed up, and I'm not sure what year, around 2008? 12. But there was a study done in 2008 anticipating the closure. Artie Ward was mayor. Later on, subsequent to Artie, Ken Cockane was also interested in something going on with the school. But if you recall, maybe at it was the election of probably 3 elections ago, Cockane versus Wilson. And Cockane wanted to make it a housing project. He was willing to sell the thing off to a Rhode Island company or whatever it was. But anyways, the public spoke and demanded that they do something to save the theater. And the theater was the focal point of what happened at the school. The city was interested in doing that. And at one point in time, July of last year, 2017, I think the city council approved $13.2 million to help save the theater. When I was elected, I brought the speaker to the school to look at it in anticipation of trying to get some funding for the theater. We were so impressed with the school, the theater and the school. We then talked to Chris Wilson from the Board of Ed, and then later Sue Moreau over there, and talked about the idea of making it a school. And it seemed like it would be a great fit. We were able to save the theater and save what is a grand monument in the center of Bristol, a gift of the Rockwell family back maybe more than 100 years ago. It's an outstanding piece of architecture, well worth saving. And so the idea became that we make this an intra-district magnet school. So over the next year and a half, reports were gathered, information was passed along, given to the proper committees, and then last year it was approved for $54 million. This city council, a few months ago, approved the bonding for the $54 million in anticipation of the state approval. The governor signed off on the statute, I call it a week and a half ago. But so anyways, it's fixed. At this point in time, we're getting a 68% reimbursement rate on $54 million. Use round numbers, call it $37 million. You already approved 13 and change, so the difference is $4 million. So the math would be for $4 million, you are renovating probably 85, 90,000 square feet of building. If you remember, the plans for that building were something not well formed in terms of nonprofits moving in there, using it for arts and development of small clusters of talent. This is using for our children and our kids in our school system. I think that the Board of Ed anticipates that we have maybe 150 or so kids that move out of town, go to magnet schools out of town.
300.
300, okay. But a number of those kids will not be out of town and probably take advantage of our educational system in Bristol. So I just wanted to bring you up to date that this is where we are. That was some of the history on it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for the city of Bristol, and now the ball is in your hands.
Well, thank you. I believe the building committee met last week and has already started to review architectural proposals, and hopefully that will be something that will move in a decent progressive action as well.
Well, I'm sure with all the interest of these people here, it'll turn out to be a wonderful project.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for updating us.
Thank you.
Next on our list is Andrew Howe.
Forgive me, Madam Mayor, I got into a fight with the coffee and coffee won. I want to ask a question about item 6F, the retroactive control, contract for the comptroller. Under 6F, there's no item there for sub. So I was wondering if there are any additional benefits, what the contract has been signed in for, what raise was hit, and I'm just kind of curious what the other increases for other department heads. So if any of you can answer those questions, I'd truly appreciate it.
I can.
Okay.
It's not on the agenda because it was a late item, but I can find the agreement. For those of you in the audience who are unaware of what he is referencing, we have an item 6F from Salary Committee that the city enter into a written employment agreement with the controller retroactive to June 19th, 2017, which is the date of her first day, to a 4-year term, and it was referred to the City Council and Board of Finance for any necessary action. So tonight, the document is a 4-year contract, which some of our department heads have, many do not, and we're working to make that a more uniform and secure employment contract situation. The other underlying issue is that we know that I can't open documents. We know that the talent pool for the controller that we have is unmeasured, and we are very fortunate to have her. But when you have someone of this talent, you often run the risk of that department head being headhunted and recruited to go to other entities, which unfortunately was the situation that occurred a couple of weeks ago. At that point, Councilman Proleski and I met with the controller, and we had a discussion about what those needs would be in terms of how we could retain her, because this is a very critical time period for us. I think that, there were some people who were surprised that from a municipal standpoint that there was actually a counter offer, but I think we felt confident enough and that we did not want anything to be political. In fact, one would often assume that when you had holdover appointments from previous administrations, that one would be quick to do away with any of those decisions that were made by your predecessors. In this case, this was one of the best decisions the former administration made. And so we decided to codify the letter of hire that our controller had into a 4-year contract. The contract references the duties of responsibility that were in her letter of hire. It includes language talking about the city policies, rules, and regulations that she must adhere to them. And it also gives her a raise effective July 1st, 2018 to an adjusted annualized salary of $164,822 for the duration of the agreement. It also has an item for compensatory time that she's able to earn for extra hours worked. There is the usual of what she was already entitled to for medical, retiree health, short-term disability. None of that has changed, as do her paid holidays and full days of funeral leave and everything else that is in the appendixes located in our personnel policies and procedures. There is also, as was in her letter of hire last year, reference to the fact that the city, as we do with many department heads, pay for certain professional development and memberships to professional associations. She is also entitled to participate in the city's pension plan, and we have vested her for 5 years as opposed to the 10-year vesting requirement. The rest of them are other items that are now codified within a contract that already existed, including indemnification, performance evaluation, personnel policies and procedures, arbitration, termination of agreement, disability, mutual agreement to terminate, just cause, and the enforcement of the agreement for general provisions. That is it. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Moving on, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 members of our Pleasant Street neighborhood here to talk about noise pollution, parking, and I think that's it. Is there, I know that many of you were at our West End Association meeting last month where some of these issues were brought to our attention after the Police Commission meeting. Does everybody want to speak, or is there a representative that would like to represent the neighborhood?
I'll start.
Okay. May we have your name and address for the record?
Absolutely. Louis Leonard, 51 Pleasant Street.
Okay, thank you.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing me to be heard today. My issue started all the way back in 2015 with a neighbor at 62 Pleasant Street. It was a hit and run, hit a car, it took off. We witnessed it. It was my buddy's truck that got hit. The gentleman got arrested for it. Well, he didn't like that too much, so that was on 10/13 of 15. On 11/17, confrontation with the neighbors across the street because they didn't like us calling the cops, so they threatened us and got it on video, so on and so forth. And another long story short, the officers came out, talked to the neighbors, everything's calm, everybody went on about their way. Then we started getting nails down the driveway. Nails, roofing nails on the street. I got it on video. I'll just try to move along here because this list goes on forever, okay? I had the police department come out on several occasions with this gentleman racing his motorcycle. With that being said, there's a couple of things I'd like to do. I'd like to give you a copy of this petition that we started in the neighborhood.
Okay.
If you pass that around, I'd appreciate it.
And Mr. Leonard, before you continue, the address in question, could you just repeat that?
62 Pleasant Street.
Thank you.
Now, I know you're very busy, Mayor. So when we stopped in your office 2 weeks ago and I said swing by my neighborhood anytime between 10:30 and 12:30, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But I called your office back and asked your secretary for you to just put your head out the window because I'm sure you can hear it from here.
I actually have, yeah.
We called the police several times. Neighbors have called the police. This noise is so loud that me and you could not have this conversation right now. It's deafening. It echoes off the school. He does it deliberately. We've tried to talk to him. He told us what to do with it, and I will not repeat some of the words that were used in that. The language is too rough, okay? You know, Officer A would come out, and I, out in the hallway, spoke to the chief, so we have an understanding with each other. I wanted to explain to him that Officer A would come out, he would talk to him, then the next time Officer B would come out, and they would talk to him because he doesn't know what A did. Officer C would come out, and he doesn't know what A and B did. We'd never had a case number. Well, just the other day, the officer came out again, and he gave us a case number. Now I know that I have to file everything under a case number. Otherwise, it's, you know, basically hearsay. I guess we gotta kind of build a book, you know. So I gave the chief a copy of all the names there. We're going to stay in touch with each other as far as this issue goes. I didn't realize that I can go up the chain of command. I figured I'd talk to an officer, and that's as far as I can go. But now I've been informed that I can go up the chain of command, so, you know, that's what I'll do in the future. But what I'd like to do, Mayor, is I'd like to play this one video for you. And there's several videos, but I'm going to send them over to the chief so he can have them on file. Okay?
Okay. The address in question, is it a multifamily?
Yes.
Okay. Is the address of record 60?
It's 60 and 62. Well, the problem is at 62.
Okay, because I'm showing it as not owner occupied. That's.
It's not owner occupied, but it's not an absentee landlord. He lives in Plainville?
Planceville.
Planceville.
Okay. Gather.
This is a couple of minutes later after the last video. This is what we have to deal with every day, day in and day out. You can't even keep your doors open to your house because the noise is so loud. That's nasty. That noise is deafening. I'm yelling into my phone so you can hear me. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Gould, did you want to say anything? You're good? You've had you're getting what you need? Okay.
That's one of many, many videos I have. Okay. It is deafening. You cannot leave your doors open to your house. You cannot have a conversation outside. And again, tried to speak to this gentleman. Man does not want to hear anything. Doesn't care, tells us what to do with it. Okay.
Have you spoken to the landlord?
The next gentleman speaking will explain that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're being victimized here, and we're being bullied, and it's gonna end. It's gotta end. You know, I just coming here. You know, hopefully everybody will understand what we're going through in the neighborhood. And it's Upson Street, that's hearing it. It's Pleasant Street, it's Orchard Street, it's West Street. I mean, people, when I took this petition around, I said, could you read the top of this? And you know, if you're interested in signing, go ahead and sign. They started reading, they said, give me the pen. Give me the pen, because they're like, who is this guy? You know? So, but like I said, the chief and I, we chatted out in the hallway. I think this is going to be a great relationship. I think and I hope we can get this under control. You know, I do appreciate you guys listening to me.
Okay. But thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Minor, did you want to speak as well? Okay.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to this.
Can we just have your name and address for the record?
Randy Minor, 66 Pleasant Street. Now, we live right next to this house, and we have a multifamily, own it, and my daughter and son-in-law and 4-year-old grandson, they live upstairs from us. And not only is it the revenue of the motorcycle, I think in the last meeting that we had with the West End Crime Watch with you a couple weeks ago, we had mentioned how he yells and screams, drives out of his driveway, backs out erratically. Now, my grandson's 4 years old. He's trying to take naps. He's getting scared of the noise. My daughter, same thing. It's making her a wreck. We had our windows open Memorial Day weekend, and all weekend long, that's all you heard was the revving of the motorcycle. So anyone having a party or, you know what I mean? I called the landlord about it last weekend because it was just out of control. He told me he was going to call down there, so, and talk to him. But he said the mother's a lunatic, you know, so, and keep calling the cops. So now that we have a case number, hopefully we can resolve this. Because like Lou said, there's no reason with him. There's obviously something wrong with him, but maybe he needs help, I don't know. Mental issues, which we have mentioned before, but the neighborhood is just, you know, being terrorized, like Lou said, retaliation with nails up and down the driveway. If we take action ourselves, you know what will happen.
Right.
And we don't want to get ourselves into trouble, so. But, you know, hopefully we can come up with a solution with this and get this resolved, because it's, I work third shift and trying to sleep during the day, and he's out there with his motorcycle and it's waking me up. And but anyways, thank you for listening tonight, and hopefully it gets resolved.
Well, I think that we're all aware that quality of life issues are different in every neighborhood. So I think now with the case number, this specific one is going to be easier to address and manipulate, more so than just, you know, different phone calls, different shifts. I think the chief has a couple of special summer patrols that I think are probably what he's thinking in terms of one of the easier ways to address this, a targeted approach.
Yep.
So let's see how that works, especially during the summer when this is really amplified.
Yeah, it's all year round anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
He's not outside, he's inside his garage with it. And it's, like I said, our house is right next to his. And, I mean, the echoing of the noise throughout the house is just insane. So, all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Good evening. My name is John Tornio, and I own 54 Pleasant Street, right next door to 62 Pleasant Street. Not only is the loudness of the motorcycle, the profanity that comes out of his mouth is unbelievable. And there's a lot of children, because Connecticut Junior Republic is on the other side of me. And that school, now the children might be hearing what he's saying. And when I say he goes on a rampage with dirty language, I just can't tell you what you hear. And you can't say anything to him. And sometimes, you know, when we call the police, you know, they come much later because they're busy. And I understand that they're busy. But, you know, sometimes when I've called, they've come an hour and a half later. Well, when he's revving up that motorcycle for at least an hour. And then he stops. And then he must figure out when the cops are coming. And then all of a sudden, then he stops, and then he starts, you know, banging, doing other things, and he's cursing and cussing. And what I'm concerned is there's a lot of children in the area, and he shouldn't be swearing like that. And, you know, nobody should be swearing with children listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lydia McGinnis. I live at 54 Pleasant Street. My grandmother died 2 months ago. And we were having family over as she was on her deathbed. He was revving his motorcycle. We would go over and ask him politely to stop. He would say, "Not my business, I don't give," and you know. And he would just not care. Last week, I was in my driveway. He was revving his motorcycle. Then he's walking by his fence, giving me the finger. He has no care in the world for anyone but himself. Like my father said, there are kids in this neighborhood. I can't even have my niece over because he is so rude with the language. He is revving the motorcycle. My niece is 7, and she can't go out and play outside. And this isn't fair to the neighborhood. And something's got to stop. Because, like everyone said, people work during nights. So the cops come out, they do what they can, but we're the ones that are suffering with this. And we're just asking for something please be done. Because it's not fair for my family or anyone else in the neighborhood to get nails in the driveway or in the road, to get a middle finger when we're doing construction or we're doing something in the manly time frame of the day. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from Pleasant Street? Pat?
I don't have much more to say regarding that neighbor.
Name and address.
Pat Stebbins, 37 Pleasant Street. My sister is disabled. Actually, the last time I had to speak before City Council was back with another issue with my sister years ago, but she's disabled. Pretty much can't move out of her chair except to get to the bathroom and the kitchen, the bedroom, and she's right across the street, so she has to listen to this all day and night too. The other thing I want to address, only because it got me so upset this afternoon when I was coming home, is the parking at Imagination Nation. It's dangerous. I'm surprised nobody's gotten injured, especially on the corner. I'll be out 8 a.m. walking the dog, anywhere between 6 and 8. People make their own parking places. They'll park past Church Street, making another parking place into Pleasant across the road. People are starting to come up the road in the wrong direction. If I'm seeing it once a day, it's got to be happening a whole lot more because I'm not out on my street that often. People park on the wrong side, and I have a bunch of funny pictures where it says, "Do not park this side," and they're right under the sign. I've knocked on windows a couple of times, pointed to the sign. And the other dangerous situation is up on the corner of West Street and Pleasant Street. The stop sign is way back, and there's not sufficient parking for that property. They're parking off the road on the wrong side, right under the stop sign. So it wouldn't hurt to have somebody drive around now and then. My real fear is that somebody's going to get hurt by Imagination Nation. If somebody's trying to cross from, say, from the south side of Pleasant to the north side, whichever, when people park across and you can't see where the crossing area is, like for somebody like me or someone child size, I don't think somebody coming around the corner would be able to see me over the roof of a car. So that's my fear in our neighborhood too, other than the neighborhood or the neighbor, the parking situation, because I'm really afraid a child's going to get hurt. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? I think just a quick reminder to our Chief Building Inspector for our next code enforcement meeting. We used to be able to use the nuisance abatement laws that for creating records and then going after owners and landlords. And I'm rusty with what those are today because it's been a few years, but maybe we can have a discussion about that and work with the police department to use the record that they're building as well. Was that Steve Lesko that brought those to us? The state's attorney for nuisance abatement?
Yeah, we never exercised.
Okay, but do you think they're still on the books? Okay. Okay, is there anybody else for public participation that maybe did not get here in time to sign up that would like to address the City Council? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to our next agenda item. We do have announcements. The first one is employee recognition. Do any other council members have employee recognition? I have two brief items.
I have something quickly. I'd just like to congratulate Mark Thomas on his award, the Telly Award, which is Nutmeg for Nutmeg TV. It's an honor of excellence from the public broadcasting system, and Mark earned that award, so I'd just like to congratulate him.
Okay. I'd like to congratulate Max Corvo, who's one of our firefighters, father of twin boys himself, who was recognized last week as the Mentor of the Year for the Bristol Board of Education. In addition to being a father, he also spends time each week with a young boy at Edgewood. And also, I think he stepped out, but Chief Gould was surprised with an award at Bristol Hospital for the partnership that the police department and the hospital have built in terms of stemming violence and security issues at the hospital for both patients and staff. Anything else? Yes, Councilman Kelly.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to acknowledge Mr. Greg Belanger, who made the decision to retire as the Director of Public Safety and Security for the Board of Education. Mr. Belanger recognized that after attending a Homeland Security seminar that the district needs a full-time director to better serve the needs of the student and the staff. And it should also be noted that for the past 5 years, Greg has actually filled 3 positions and done a great job filling all 3. 2 of those came with a small stipend, but it saved the city a lot of money. In addition to being the Public Safety and Security Director, he was the Transportation Director, in addition to his full-time job of the Food Service Director. So we appreciate the effort that Greg put in these past 5 years, working 3 positions, and I think he should be commended because he did an exemplary job in all 3 positions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, announcements starting on my far left.
Sure. Just 2 quick announcements. Rockwell and Page Park pools are opening for the season on June 23rd. Also, swim lessons and other programs start at that time. It's a great way to cool off if you're looking for something to do. Also, the summer concert series at Rockwell Park starts on Tuesday, June 26th at 7 o'clock. Kicks off with the talented LaTanya Farrell, and the series runs throughout the rest of the summer into about mid-August. Tuesday nights at Rockwell Park, with the exception of July 24th, which is in Forestville at the Ultimate Wire Forums.
Councilman Mills.
Yes, the only announcement I have is the farmer's market will be starting. It'll be at the mall again, the old, well, Center Square, I'm sorry.
More north.
More north, yeah, toward McDonald's, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I believe that's going to begin next weekend.
June 23rd.
June 23rd, correct. That's it.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one. A great family event is coming up this August 18th. The West End Association is sponsoring its summer festival at Rockwell Park. It'll be held, as I said, on August 18th from 10 to 6. Mark your calendars. But in addition to that, there are still some booths available for vendors, and there are some slots available for local talent musicians who'd like to perform at the event. If you're interested, you could check the West End Association website or call Dave Hamlin at Hamlin & Sons. Thank you.
None for me.
I'd like to welcome the new ownership of the Yankee Harley-Davidson. They had a grand opening a couple weeks ago, and in speaking with Mike Kean, the general manager, and the CEO, Mark Smith, it's evident that the new ownership has a dedication to kicking up the customer service as well as a dedication to the city of Bristol. So I just want to wish them well and thank them for coming to town.
Thank you. Councilman Kelly, anything? Okay. I just have one brief item so that we can get some publicity for it because we just finalized details. The City of Bristol is hosting a Protecting Our Kids event Thursday, June 28th, 6:30 to 8:30. Child predators, internet safety, all of those issues are really beginning to ramp up, and there seems to be a really high level of concern in the City of Bristol. So the police chief has identified a speaker who specializes in this, and we are inviting all parents, grandparents, and guardians for a free program here in the council chambers on Thursday, June 28th. It's a free informational session, and it's going to cover cyberbullying, current applications and programs, sexting issues, texting issues, and really just the social media world and how parents can help protect their kids from being victims and keep their families safe. So we think it's a great way to kick off the summer. While it may be a sobering topic, it's something that I think we all face every day. So this information will be on the All Heart website, as well as hopefully will be picked up by local media, and we're asking everyone out there to help spread the word for any of your groups and organizations that might be interested. Thank you. Okay. Any other announcements? Hearing none, I will turn it over to our town and city clerk for the consent calendar. I think we will first ask, is there anything that anybody would like to pull off to discuss? Okay. Hearing that, is there, similar to what we did at the joint board, is there a motion to waive the reading of items A through T?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Therese, you can take it from here.
Wonderful. Actually, the next
Motion
item.
to approve?
Yeah, a motion to approve for,
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
okay, the next items are committee reports, so it starts with real estate.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a motion from the Real Estate Committee. I hereby move that the City of Bristol accept the offer from Maureen Gio in the amount of $40,000 for the entire parcel of city-owned property known as Lot Number 75A-2, Pine Street on map 34 of the Bristol Assessor's Office. I further move that this matter be referred to the Corporation Council to prepare and/or review any necessary documents. I further move that the mayor or acting mayor be authorized to execute any necessary documents to effect the same. Effectively the same.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Your Honor, from the Ordinance Committee, we have a motion. I hereby move that Section 15-2 through 15-2.3, Loitering of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, is hereby amended to read as follows. I further move that the city clerk publish said amendments and additions to the Code of Ordinances, and that they become effective upon the expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation of the City of Bristol.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Your Honor, again from the Ordinance Committee, a motion to adopt, a motion to, I hereby move that Section 15-7 through 15-15, panhandling of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, is hereby amended to read as follows. I further move that the city clerk publish said amendments and additions to the Code of Ordinances, and that they become effective upon the expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the City of Bristol.
Second.
Discussion of the motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Just on this issue, I've had lots of people come up to me, I guess, from the article in the paper about panhandling. And this is a situation that's happening throughout our city and many cities. I know Attorney Conlon did a lot of work looking at various ordinances throughout the other towns to come up with something. Because it is something that obviously if people are in need, we all are aware of that and try to help with that, but we've been getting reports of people being harassed, and that's the reason this whole thing was covered. So I just wanted to make everyone know why this was taken up and what the purpose of it was.
And I think it's great that it was fast-tracked through ordinance and that older language was updated, but I will say that since the media sort of shed a spotlight on this, the organized aspect of it with the cardboard signs at the shopping center entrances seems to have abated significantly. So I think that just us being proactive and discussing it and saying that we were going to take lengths to have some enforcement on it was effective in and of itself. And now we have an ordinance on the books to allow the police department to actually take it to the next level.
And Mayor, if I can add, please, that Attorney Conlon has always did a great job, but I want to thank Police Chief Gould, who was very instrumental in constructing language as well. Chief, thank you.
Okay. Did we vote on 6C?
No.
Okay. A motion to approve?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm assuming everyone's voting yes.
A lot of enthusiasm there.
Sorry, I thought you were looking for a
Okay.
motion.
Okay. Motion was made. Was there a second? I think there was, yes. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Motion carries.
And Your Honor, we have one more from the Ordinance Committee. This is a motion. I hereby move that Sections and forgive me for this, it's long, 2-66, 2-67, 2-68, 2-71, 2-72, 2-76, 2-91, 2-94, 2-97.8, 2-97.11, retirement, city, police, and fire of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bristol, Connecticut is hereby amended to read as follows, as provided. I further move that the city clerk publish said amendments and additions to the Code of Ordinances and that they become effective upon the expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the City of Bristol.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Well, I will just say that this is the culmination of about 2.5 months of really hard work by a lot of people. And as much as I don't want to turn the city council meetings into a thank you festival, I think that the work that was done by the ordinance committee, the corporation counsel's office, the city treasurer, our controller, and generally the unions to come together to enact these pension amendments, which are going to be in effect 14 days from day of publication, which based on the timing of this meeting, means that our new pension ordinance will be in effect on July 1st, concurrent with our new city budget, which thanks to the accounting recognition that we are now doing, saved us $4 million. So this, as innocuous as it appears, as item 60 represents a lot of really hard work. And thank you, Councilman Pileski, for taking the lead on the police negotiations as well with the memorandum of understanding. We will be executing those shortly now that this pension is headed to approval, and that will be the last piece of what was a very interesting policy path. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And the next item is Salary Committee.
I have that, thank you. Our first salary motion is to move approval of the creation of a new seasonal part-time, non-bargaining, non-benefited position of technical, safety, and maintenance coordinator, senior lead facilitator, to be paid $25.84 an hour out of the Pine Lake Challenge Course proceeds.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Our second motion for salary is to recommend that the city enter into a proposed written employment agreement with the comptroller for a 4-year term retroactive to June 19th, 2017, and to refer to the Board of Finance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Could you just briefly, we're going to do this later on. I guess it'll happen later on. I just want to talk about the payment of this. So it'll be under H, never mind.
I believe it is under H,
Right.
Councilman, yes.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion on item 6F? The motion has been made and seconded. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item G is also from the Salary Committee, and it's to increase the salary of the assistant to the comptroller from non-bargaining salary level 4, step 7, to non-bargaining level 5, step 7, which is 9.86%, effective July 1st, 2018, and to refer this to the Board of Finance for any necessary action.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item H is also from the Salary Committee to refer to the Retirement Board for any necessary action. The recommendation of the mayor and treasurer that a proportionate share of the costs of the salaries and benefits of the comptroller and assistant to the comptroller be allocated as an administrative expense of the city pension system that is reflective of their work in administering said system.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Councilman Mills.
Yes, I'm going to refer to you, if you could, if you just, again, if you can explain the, I believe what has happened, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. What's happened with this, I believe, is that a portion of the salary will come out of the pension system. It is my understanding that the work that they do is available to be paid from the pension system. And therefore, part of the raises that are going to be going to these, or the new salary agreement is going to be paid for by the pension system.
Yes, the majority of both will be. It is currently a process or procedure protocol that is already in place for employees of the Treasurer's Office. It has been approved by both our pension attorney and our actuarial, and is also supported by the city treasurer, who chairs the retirement board. The reason it is here is so that we can make that referral to the retirement board, which meets on Thursday, and they can then also act on it appropriately.
May I add, Your Honor? I'm vice chair of retirement board, and I work pretty closely with T.J. Barnes, and I've spoken to him about this. We are looking at all ways of saving money during this budget year, and currently we pay, I think it's 18 basis points, that's 0.18% of our retirement fund to our investment manager, and we're going to renegotiate some of that and see what we can do to reallocate that so we can reapportion some of these raises that we think are so important to critical people within the city.
And the reason for that, obviously, is they do this work. So
it's
you know,
really,
and they're working on the pension, so therefore the pension should be paying.
Exactly. Right. It's almost like cost accounting, Dave, where we're really allocating time spent and trying to appropriate it the right way.
I just wanted to make sure that people were aware of that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
And Your Honor, we do have one other salary item. I don't know if you want me to do it after. Sorry. Yes.
We didn't vote.
Sorry, getting ahead of myself.
So back to 6H, all in favor of the referral to the retirement board?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Thank
Back to you.
So, Your Honor, I do have one other salary motion that didn't make it to the agenda. I don't know if you want to do it after the Code Enforcement Committee report.
Oh, we can do it now, but we'll need a motion to bring it onto the table first.
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can you highlight your item, please?
Yes. To approve an upgrade of the position of Water Services Coordinator, which is a BPSA salary level 7, $61,057 to $74,826, to Assistant Superintendent of Water Supply and Treatment, BPSA salary level 9, $73,824 to $90,484, effective July 1st, 2018.
Is there a second?
Second.
So for discussion purposes and the edification of the public, this is a position that is retiring and is being reworked and relabeled for more efficiency and functionality.
And payment is going to be part of the budget, I believe, of the water department, correct?
The enterprise, yep. Any further questions or concerns about the newest salary referral? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So is that it from salary?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so moving on to code enforcement.
Your Honor, it was voted at the Code Enforcement meeting to recommend the approval of a tax assessment freeze application for Bogey LLC, the owner of 24-26 Mellon Street, Bristol, Connecticut, for the rehabilitation of a blighted property with the restoration of a two-family structure per Section 5-57 of the Bristol Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the application? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Charter Revision Commission. I'm going to punt this over to the Corporation Council. I don't even know the date of their next meeting. Has it been decided?
Thursday.
As in 2 days from now? Okay, so the Charter Revision Commission is meeting on the 14th for the purposes of public hearing? Okay, and a special meeting for any other items that come before them. They are close to wrapping up their work and issuing their report, which needs to be done, I believe, by the end of this month.
It's a special meeting, so they can't take on.
Right. So they'll most likely meet again in order to finalize their report.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that agenda has been transmitted in
Okay. So for those of you who are tracking Charter Revision, Thursday night is their next meeting. And the Mayor's Opioid Task Force is actually meeting on Thursday night as well. And the focus of our meeting, because this is obviously a very large topic with many moving parts, we are trying to choose certain items that we can have action on while we continue to study, discuss other options. We actually have a small brochure that was an example from the city of Waterbury that their emergency responders use when responding to opioid overdoses. It's a brochure that can be used and left with the families or at the hospital, and it is kind of a next step. Now that this has happened, here's some information about what the community is doing, can do, and some resources for parents and caregivers. So that's our homework project from May that will be addressed at the June meeting. We're also dealing with legislative issues, insurance issues, recovery issues, all types of different subject areas. It's a very loose and fast-moving task force. People are welcome to come in and out, but these work groups are going to start to be firmed up and have certain people attached to them so that we can have work product over the summer. I think that meeting is here in the meeting room.
I believe it's at the library.
No, charter revision, or is it at the library? I don't know.
I think opioid.
Is it?
Is at the library.
Okay, so.
At 6 o'clock.
With charter revision? Are they there too? So we'll have those posted on the website. I think you're right. I think it is at the library now that I've seen the agenda. I think it's, well, we can check that, library. So again, people are welcome to join that and add any expertise or support to that effort as well. Okay, additional committee reports starting on my far left.
Just really quick, I have a kind of a police parks combo. You alluded to it earlier, but a police patrol will be commencing at Rockwell Park on June 21st. So during the summer months, there's going to be a dedicated officer to the park to help promote safety there, which is great. Secondly, I did want to just make sure the police department got some credit. They participated in the Special Olympics Law Enforcement Torch Run this past Thursday, June 7th, and over $10,000 was raised. Which is a phenomenal job. So that's it.
Thank you. Councilman Mills.
Very quickly, for the marketing committee, Mark Thomas and his crew from the BDA have come out with a new brochure. That's the visitor's guide, the official visitor's guide for many things that are happening in the summertime, et cetera. This is going to be available at many of the public places throughout the city, and I would suggest you pick one up. And also, we are in the process of adopting the marketing plan for 2018 and 19. And we're going to be doing some work on that. But the marketing committee is very active. We're going to be working, and we're going to ask the Lindsay Vigu from the Arts Commission to come to our meeting and a few other folks to come and try to get some input and to, we're actually trying to reach out to more people in the city. I think right now we have about 6,000 people that we reach out to, and we'd like to reach out to everybody in the city if we possibly can. So our emphasis is to really increase our reach. That's all I have.
I think it's important to note for those of you who have seen this piece, it is a visitor's guide and it's targeted to people who are not familiar with Bristol, but it's always a great refresher to look at all the things that we do offer. The categories that we've concentrated on are museums and culture, parks and nature, sports and recreation for things to do when you're in town, obviously specifically targeting the Giamatti Little League and the tournaments they bring in this summer, as well as we have a lot of people coming from out of town for the Bristol Blues games, coming to Muzzy Field, as well as we're going to ask that our museums and attractions stock it as well. So if they have out-of-town visitors, that they too may be able to pick this up and enjoy other things while they're here in town. You will see a smaller version of this in all of your tax bills. We decided to take a different approach with what was somewhat, a black and white boring, here's what you owe the city of Bristol tax message. And that too is carrying this theme with some of the attractions for Bristol and information for residents as well of things that they might not be interested in. So that will be in the mail later this month as well.
If I may, this is also going to be sent to all of the Little League teams that are coming in from out of state, so that they'll have an idea as to what to do when they come here. So that's it.
Thank you. Councilman Pileski.
Mayor, can I have one more thing from code ordinance, or code enforcement, I should say. Our chief building inspector is here. This is a very busy time for the building department with complaints on code violations. One of the focus that residents will see is on tall grass and uncut lawns. the building department and our code enforcement people will be giving tickets out. So that's going to be a focus for beautification throughout the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, I don't have any additional committee reports, but I do have something that I noticed here in my notes, that there may have been something else I should have added to one of our motions. So I wanted to make an additional motion to authorize Mayor Ellen Zaposasu or an acting mayor to sign the employment agreement with our comptroller and to refer that employment agreement to the pension board in addition to the Board of Finance. Can I have a second for that? Thank you.
Okay, Therese, do you have that? Okay. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
All set for me.
Councilman Hahn.
In regards to the Arts, Culture, and Tourism Commission, we had our first meetings over the past few weeks, and the council did elect its chair, Lindsay Vigu, and the vice chair, Kim Valanti, and they're currently discussing and formalizing a vision statement as well as identifying projects and issues that they can address in the coming months. Our very first effort is working with Parks on their concert on June 26th, and we'll have a presence there, and we'll be working with them on planning. On the Commission on Aging, last week, I believe it was, the mayor and I had the privilege of attending a dinner to congratulate and thank the volunteers that have put in time for our senior citizens and the senior center. One of the things that we did not realize, or at least I did not realize, was the number of volunteers that step up. We had 282 volunteers, and they put in over 27, close to 28,000 hours of volunteer time over the past year for our seniors. And that's such an incredible number to donate their time, talent, and leadership to help our senior citizens. I just really wanted to go on record and thank them for the efforts, and Patty Tomczak for organizing this. It's a huge effort, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Councilman Kelly.
Yes, I have a school readiness committee report, and I'll try to be brief. At the last School Readiness Council meeting of this fiscal year, the school readiness providers gave a presentation of what funds they receive and how they must run their programs with those funds. In April, these programs shared their cost of care, which is how much it takes per student to deliver a quality learning experience. And on average, for a full day, full school year, the school readiness program in Bristol is about $12,400 per student. And in Bristol, we are fortunate that the funds from this Office of Early Childhood includes Care for Kids, Parent Share, and donations from local grants. These three programs are able to provide a quality educational experience for almost 400 children. And these programs also pay 110 people, mostly Bristol residents. So they not only provide worthwhile service, but also provide a livelihood for those 110 people. And if these funds were not available, the city could never afford the cost to provide these experiences for our young people, and the community obviously would suffer. These past 7 months, I have learned much about the importance of early care and education in its relation to the education of our youngest residents, as well as support to their families and our community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee reports, committee business? Okay. Hearing none, we can move on to unfinished business. The first item is an update on shared services and regional initiatives with the Board of Education, Town of Farmington, and the last item listed on agenda item 7 is actually a typo. It should have read the Town of Plainville instead of the redundancy of a second Bristol Board of Education. I believe for the Board of Education, it's important for everyone to know that we've been having very substantive conversations with our friends at the Board of Education, which are going to result in some significant efficiencies in the short term and hopefully some long-term savings. We are in the process of setting up an insurance office on the 3rd floor, bringing over an employee from the Board of Education and combining it with our insurance employee, and they're going to be working together in what was the old probate office. There's also some long-term issues there in terms of bringing those divisions closer together with the employee health care plans as well as information. So that one should, as soon as those offices are ready, will probably be within the next week or so. We have also entered into an agreement with the Board of Education to share building maintenance facility services, which is going to go into effect hopefully within, well, on or before July 1st. This is going to have the benefit of integrating all of our shared resources, including our skilled workers. They're all going to maintain their own unions, but they're going to be working on under the jurisdiction of one director. There will then be 2 silos that continue to come down with sort of a deputy system set up with the Board of Ed side as well as the City Hall side. That has resulted in the elimination of 1 supervisor position, and eventually, I think through retirement attrition and skills sharing, there may be some additional attrition through retirements as well as we move into this system. From that point, we are having a meeting on Friday, and we are hoping to have some positive discussions about merging the information technology systems. We maintain the server of which the Board of Ed uses. We all have technical support and positions that maintain Munis, as well as the educational software, and we believe that there are many cost savings to be had by aligning those 2 departments. At this point, we are looking to do that hopefully on or before July 1st as well. And again, short-term efficiencies, long-term savings, especially from a procurement and a purchasing policy standpoint, which will be part of that. So, and I think for now, there are some others that are being discussed that have not come to fruition. So we will keep all of you apprised as we do that. That will come in a minute. From those, one of the affected employees, through the budget process, there were actually 2.5 positions eliminated. One of them was close to normal retirement, and we do have a separation agreement that needs to come to council tonight because that position is eliminated as of June 30th. So I would like to ask for a motion to bring onto the table the employment separation agreement and general release for Brian Austin.
I have that motion, Your Honor. I hereby move that
First, we have to bring it on the table.
All right. I make a motion to bring the separation agreement with Brian Austin to the table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yes, now you can do your motion.
I've really been jumping the gun too much tonight. I apologize. I hereby move that the City of Bristol enter into an employment separation agreement and general release of all claims agreement with Brian Austin, a city employee, and that the Mayor, Ellen A. Zaposasu, or acting mayor, be authorized to sign said separation agreement and general release of all claims. I further move that this matter be referred to the Board of Finance and the Pension Board for any necessary action.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Also, under shared services, we are entering into an agreement with the town of Farmington. Especially for those that are in the 1st District Northeast section, you're aware of the Route 6 construction project from the State Department of Transportation. The main contractor there is Empire. That project is continuing to move east into Farmington. They are looking for some assistance with those types of traffic enforcement issues as well as need throughout the rest of their town. So we have a memorandum of understanding with the town of Farmington that will allow the use both ways, Farmington to Bristol and Bristol to Farmington, of our police officers to do those types of private duty jobs. It will follow the same format that we do with current private duty, which is those jobs are paid for by the entity doing the hire, not the city. They are done on a available basis after the Bristol shifts are filled and after private duty jobs being requested within the city of Bristol are filled. And only at that point, when manpower is available, does Farmington come into play, and vice versa. So there was a memorandum circulated, and it has gone to There are extra copies if members of council did not download them. But I believe we do have a motion to come before us. So as we potentially have discussion, why don't we get the motion on the floor first?
Sure. Mayor, I have the motion.
Wait, I think Josh has the motion.
Okay.
I hereby move that the City of Bristol enter into a police assistant agreement with the town of Farmington per the attached document, and that the mayor, Ellen A. Zapo Sasu, or acting mayor be authorized to sign said police assistant agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
This is, okay. Any discussion on the agreement? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I will be recorded as an abstention for the purpose of this motion. The third one is a shared services agreement that we are entering into with the town of Plainville for building inspection services. They have a longtime single employee who has been handling that for decades, and he is entering retirement. And the town of Plainville is looking to Bristol to have a cooperative and collaborative relationship for a fee schedule to help them cover the summer months. And starting fiscal year through July, the agreement will run through June 30th, so that we can be available to them for services that their residents and businesses might need for building inspection. So there is another memorandum of understanding that we are executing with the town of Plainville. The fee schedule is in that motion, is in the memorandum. And I think that we will also have, for the purposes of putting it on the record, let's have a motion come forward so we can discuss.
I have a motion, Your Honor. I hereby move that the City of Bristol enter into a memorandum of understanding with the town of Plainville with respect to the sharing of building official services per the attached document, and that the mayor, Ellen A. Zapo Sasu, or acting mayor be authorized to sign said memorandum of understanding.
Is there a second for discussion?
Second.
Is there a discussion on the motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Are we understaffed in our town? Obviously, I believe this office also covers tall grass and some of these issues that that we have. And I know the next thing on the item on the agenda is the citywide Clean and Green initiative. So my concern is that we have enough manpower to be able to handle what we are asked to handle, and then also work with Plainville.
Mm-hmm. We've met with the town, Guy Moran, our chief building inspector, and I have met twice with the town of Plainville for those exact reasons. And so what this memorandum reflects is that it's the services that will be provided is up to 12 hours of building inspection per week. The specific dates and hours to be determined by mutual agreement. So it will most likely be our inspectors and the people who are handling tall grass. Our code enforcement officers are most likely going to be not involved to a large degree based on, vacations and other things. There could be coverage, but we think that that is a reasonable expectation that we can cover. The other interesting piece is that they have Thursday hours, so there is no conflict there, and they also do not work on Friday afternoons, period, not just in the summer. So we have some flexibility in terms of how we're going to do that. As you can see from the agreement, they are agreeing to reimburse us at the hourly rate of $35.88 for the benefit of the audience who doesn't have this. If they use Thursday evening hours, the hourly rate is $53.82. If we have to get a call-in for some type of emergency on the weekends, the rate is the overtime rate of $53.82. Emergency hours overnight for a 4-hour minimum are $215. The coordination is between the town of Plainville, the director of their land use division, John Bossy, and on our side, Guy Moran. If we do plan reviews, the amount is $75 per hour that they will pay the City of Bristol. They will provide us with a monthly invoice detailing its services for the prior month, and the town of Plainville shall pay the invoice within 30 days. Any of our City and Bristol employees providing inspection services for Plainville under this agreement are and shall remain employees of the city at all times. We will continue to cover them for workers' compensation, and we will have access to the town of Plainville's permitting system online. So in actuality, a lot of work can be reviewed actually from Bristol when necessary. So we're going to try this starting on July 1st and see how it goes. The agreement is for 1 year only, and there are the ability to extend it if we see that it's working and they choose to continue the shared service. And most importantly is the last item, that if for some reason we find that this is an impact to our building department, we have the opportunity to cancel this agreement with written notice, as do they.
And again, who's going to be monitoring it if that it's causing a problem?
I think that it would be communication between the department head and my office that we would be monitoring that. And obviously if there were complaints from the town of Plainville, which I don't anticipate.
Thank you.
Any other questions concerning the town of Plainville MOU? Okay, we have a motion and a second for discussions. Is there any further conversation? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So segueing, the first item of new business that I've put on the agenda is I've just labeled it Citywide Clean and Green Initiative. As Councilman Mills referenced, we've been having some discussions about how some of this is, especially with summer approaching, what the city looks like, how we're marketing it, how we can keep it clean, and we're very interested in enlisting the support of businesses and residences, many of which already do a wonderful job of maintaining their properties. So this initiative is actually going to have a couple of different pieces, and it's still in its infancy, but I felt it was important to put it on the agenda so that we can actually get ideas from residents as well, and anybody who would be interested in helping. For the council's perspective, we are going to hopefully be recognizing with a letter that we can pass out as we go about our day and as we visit places, thanking people who are actually doing a great job maintaining their properties. There will be a second letter to those that may need some help, asking them to step up and do a better job with maintenance, and also letting them know the city services that are available. So that's kind of the overview. From there, we're going to create an inventory of the resources that are available. Some people are not aware of them, and it would make it easier for them if they knew that they could get yard waste, if, extra recycling barrels, the services that are available at the transfer station, as well as work with our Public Works Department to identify eyesores and hot spots. One that is constantly coming to our attention now that we have active development downtown, and it's a gateway, is Riverside Avenue. So from a perspective of that being a gateway, many of us are concerned about its current condition, the way it looks, and the opportunities that we have to make it better, as people are going to be traveling it and then coming right into our downtown if they're not on Memorial Boulevard. So again, this is in its fledgling stages. We are looking for input. We are looking for opinions from people. I got a great email just yesterday from someone talking about the Maple End Railroad Island. I've looked at that for as long as I've been, acknowledging it. And I myself am not creative enough to understand what could ever possibly be done there to improve what is that critical intersection. So I suggested, to this lady that she could help us with that. And she came back with 3 great ideas, some of which we may not be able to do because it's owned by the railroad, but at least one of them I think is doable, and it might just completely change the complexion of that particular intersection itself. So those are the types of input that we're looking for. We'd like to continue to roll this out all summer. Riverside Avenue is the first database that we're tackling in terms of making communication with those residents and businesses and asking them to pitch in. Councilman
Yes,
Mills,
just
do you have anything to
a
add?
few comments. Obviously, this has been a focus from the marketing committee also.
Yep.
We want to obviously put our best foot forward, and many businesses do and many people do. I also get complaints from people who are doing a great job on their lawn, their whole property, and across the street from them is someone that doesn't do anything to theirs. The grass is 2 feet high. They put trash out to the front lawn and our front curb, and it's not picked up. So I think the people have to know who to call. I think that would be helpful because they don't have to put up with that. Just as the neighbors came in tonight from Pleasant Street, they don't have to put up with it in their neighborhood either. And we're asking people, and most people want to take care of their property and try to take care of their property, but there are some people who don't. And those that don't, maybe need a little bit of a nudge, and Guy Moore and his staff do a great job in nudging them to getting them to do that, and it makes a big difference. So that is a concern, And as you said, Riverside Avenue, just going down Riverside Avenue, you'll see some great examples, like the water department does a terrific job. The bank does a good job. Obviously, some other places need a little bit of a nudge also. But if we can make the gateways, think of all the people that are coming into Muzzy Field, for example, they're going to be coming in for the festival, the West End Festival, et cetera. We have to start somewhere, so we're going to put an emphasis on Riverside Avenue, as you indicated. Try to make that as pristine as possible, and we can only do that with the help of the Public Works Department, because we do have two entities there. We have Eversource, for example, which owns a big strip of land there that needs to be done. So anybody that can help, anybody has any ideas, we certainly would recommend that they come and present it to us, and it's great to hear. And just as far as the Maple Inn is concerned, I see that Public Works is taking care of the vegetation there, and it looks a lot better already. So
yes, it does.
That's all I have.
Any other comments or questions?
Yes, Mayor, I have a question. Dave, did I jump ahead of you? No. Did you have a question? Okay, and I'm not sure if this would come under this umbrella, but, and I'm sure a lot of people are aware of it, there's a voluminous bulk pickup situation recently on Park Street, and there was quite a buzz about it. And I understand it was a landlord, and they are taxpayers as well, but it seemed a bit extreme. So maybe if under this initiative, that could be addressed so everyone is happy. And I mean, it was tidily done. Things were tied properly, et cetera, but it was still unsightly because it was so huge. So maybe under this initiative, something like that could be addressed?
I mean, that's a perfect example of what we're fighting. So we have a landlord who utilized a city service, paid the fee, but extended by leaps and bounds the amount that he was allowed to put out for that $25 curbside
right, it was
pickup.
Excessive.
So we have a couple of issues with that. One, that was on a gateway. It was on a state road. It was on its way to, Muzzy Field and Rockwell Park, the cut through to Plymouth. That many people travel every day. But as with all of our cases, it's a complaint-driven process. So on that point, the good news is everybody in the West End called. We had a bunch of phone calls about it. People were posting on social media to make us aware of the situation. The frustrating news is that everybody, including landlords, the good ones, the bad ones, and the mediocre ones, all deserve due process notice. And so we had to have our staff go out and properly notice that landlord that that was an illegal curbside pickup, size-wise and everything else. So that had to be done. But within the next day, I think that was on a Thursday, on Friday at 3 o'clock, we had a crew on overtime that we had to send out because they could not fit that type of bulk pickup during the normal pickup. And so they picked it up so that it was clear for the weekend. And there will be a fee assessed to that landlord for exceeding the allowable amount. There's a couple of issues, though. I mean, from a policy perspective, I think the Public Works Board needs to look at the rate fee, because I do think that we have landlords using this as a much more easier way than what they should be doing, which is for that size, it would be a dumpster or, one of those larger rentals that they would need. But again, we have to look at all of these and how we do them and what's available for resources from the Public Works Department, maybe after routes are done and, all of that. So I think it's key that the public continue to report those items, but I think it's also equally important that the public understands that code enforcement in general and these types of things, especially from code enforcement, they're complaint driven and there's a due process that notices have to be given before we can formally take action.
Through the chair, just briefly, the biggest complaint that I've seen with people putting stuff out is they put it out too early. Obviously, you're supposed to put it out the night before. Mm-hmm. Some people put it out 2 weeks ahead of time or 3 weeks ahead of time, so it's sitting out there. So obviously, that's when Guy gets called, his office gets called, and he has double work. He has to go out and send a citation. So.
Right, and Public Works has citation ability as well. So once notice is given, tickets can be written, and tickets can be written every day. And I think that that's important for people to understand. We have found through years of code enforcement that the best way to get people's attention is through their wallet or their pocketbook. And those tickets can accrue, and it definitely reacts in terms of getting.
One suggestion would be that the Public Works people, as they drive through the city, write down the address. If they see something in the sidewalk, it would be very simple to write down the address and come back and report it.
And we have a lot of other city vehicles on the roads as well that can help with that as well.
Right.
Okay.
Enough.
So I guess to wrap this up, from a council perspective, for those of you operating in your own council districts and the routes that you take, and to members of the public and department heads, any ideas that you'd like to see incorporated, we would really appreciate getting them as soon as possible, and we're looking to roll this out as soon as next week. The letters for Riverside Avenue are in the process of being done, but this is a program that is going to be inclusive throughout the city. Neighborhoods, residential, commercial, open space, and it is obviously my hope that the city of Bristol itself, the landlord and maintainer of many public properties, will continue to set the bar in terms of making our properties look good. Anything else? Okay. Any other new business?
I have one other announcement, and it'll be brief. And I would like to congratulate Mr. Peter Winninger, the principal at Bristol Central, and his staff for winning their second consecutive national award for the school. This year, Central earned a Silver Medal of Distinction, which was awarded by U.S. News and World Report. And just to quantify that, they were the 33rd ranked high school in Connecticut, and there's 480 total high schools in Connecticut. So to put that into perspective, it's pretty impressive. And they were 1,633, I believe, in the nation. And there's over 40,000 high schools in the nation. So that's pretty impressive. And in addition, last year, Mr. Winninger was awarded the Principal of Principals Award, which goes to the top secondary school principal in the nation. And I'm proud to say that I know Pete, and he does a wonderful job at Bristol Central. And lastly, Central had 2 state champions in the recent Class L state track and field championships. Cheyenne Witten won the high jump, and amazingly, Dathan Hickey, never running track, just a phenomenal athlete, won the long jump, which is a very technical event. So that's very impressive, and I look forward to seeing Dathan at Yale the next 4 years. He's going to do some special things. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Hahn, new business?
Okay.
None for me.
Mayor, the city's in active negotiations right now with some of the city unions. Can you give us an update, maybe, or the audience an update?
I don't think I can, because we've signed ground rules, but we are in negotiations with BPSA, which is our supervisors union, 1338, which is known as our outside workers, and 233, our inside workers, City Hall, administrative staff. And this is my first time doing this. I will say that it's been very educational, and I think that both sides have been surprised by the different types of issues that we've brought to the table. Obviously, we are doing a traditional wages and benefits package, and then there's other contract language that everyone's interested in either adding, amending, or making other changes to. So in terms of specifics, as we work through that system, you will be seeing those contracts come through. It is my hope that we will be finished with them as close to the end of July as possible, because obviously the controller is carrying a contingency line item for wage adjustments and anything else that comes, but as it would be a lot cleaner if we could do it sooner rather than later. So I'm sorry that I can't give you more of an update than that, but due to the ground rules, we are very strict about not discussing proposals per se. But I think so far, I've been very impressed with the dialogue that we've had. I think that there's lots of opportunities, and I know that many of you have expressed concerns about the level of upgrades and how we have a lot of activity with people looking to make changes to their departments. We've had a lot of changes that have occurred through retirements and attrition, and frankly, unfortunately, the 2.5 positions that we've eliminated through the budget. These are always opportunities through negotiations to look at that. And I have long held that the codes and the classifications that we have in the city are voluminous. They are very complicated for department heads and supervisors sometimes, and I think that there is a better way of doing it. And I think that so far we've had some great conversations, and I think that you'll be very happy with what hopefully will be the end result of these 3 contracts. For those who are following these issues, police and fire, come to the table next spring. So we are kind of trying to keep a very global view of some of the insurance and options for the city, because it would be beneficial if we make any changes and moves that all of our groups come together and do those together, so that we don't dilute our employee base. And we also have retirees in our insurance pool as well. Unbeknownst to me, as the liaison to the Bristol-Burlington Health District, we are also entering negotiations next week there. So that's another opportunity to more closely align some of the issues with our city employees. So that's our fourth one, actually. Okay. Any other new business?
None, Your Honor.
Okay. Do we have resignations?
Yes, Your Honor, there are 3 resignations. The first is from Gregory Fortier from the Mayor's Task Force on Energy Consumption. The second is from Catherine Casson from the Youth Commission, and that's effective on June 13th, 2018. And the last one is from Jeffrey Beauchamp, also from the Youth Commission.
Is there a motion to accept the resignations and send a letter of thanks?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Before I read the appointments for June, I did want to enlist members of the public who may be listening that A, we have not forgotten about our Energy Commission, but we had lots of activity within the Ordinance Committee, and so unfortunately, the ordinance necessary to form the Energy Commission out of the task force recommendations was kind of pushed down on the priority list a little bit, but that's popped back up, and it's going to be something that we're going to be dealing with over the summer. So our existing Energy Commission members will be asked if they're interested in serving on the permanent commission, but if there are any members of the public who are interested in that energy work, please contact the mayor's office and we'd be happy to include you on that new commission as it becomes impaneled. The other thing that we've talked about in the past few months is a diversity council. We have lots of different cultures, races, religions, and many people have felt that there should be a unifying voice and an opportunity to showcase some of those diversity issues within the city of Bristol. Right now, I have 3 people interested. I'm looking for 2 more. And so if there's anybody out there that would be interested in serving, I would like to be able to name that initial diversity council at the July meeting. For the appointments that are due in the month of June, we have 2 for the Commission for Persons with Disabilities. The first is to reappoint Joseph Krolikowski for a 3-year term to June of 2021.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the second one for the Commission for Persons with Disabilities is to reappoint Kristen Granitek for a 3-year term to June of 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Mayor's Task Force on HIV/AIDS, the name is to appoint Sabrina Manabat. There is no term because this is a Mayor's Task Force. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board of Park Commissioners, to appoint Mary Ellen Holden to replace Eric Carlson, a Section 2-9 attendance resignation, unexpired term to December of 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Youth Commission, there's a lot of transition due to retirements and new people coming on and student representatives, so there are several tonight. The first one, we had actually acted on these 2, but the way the vacancies ran, they are up again shortly after initially naming them. The first one is to reappoint Deborah All, a citizen member for a 3-year term to June of 2021. She had previously been filling an expired vacancy.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Same situation for Allison Wadowski, citizen member. We are reappointing her for a full 3-year term to June of 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. To reappoint Kim Carmelik, private youth representative, for a 3-year term to June of 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. To reappoint Joy Harris, under 21 years of age representative, for her Section 2-9. She is going to continue to serve an unexpired term to March of 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. To appoint Juan Calderon to replace Michaela Milholm, under 21 years of age, representative. She's a Section 2-9 as well. It is an unexpired term to December of 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. To appoint Matthew Gadawala, police representative, to replace Officer Jeff Beauchamp, who is retiring from the police department, to serve as the police representative on the Youth Commission. The effective start of Officer Gadawala's term will be June 14th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And another one, school system representative, to appoint Ryan Broderick to replace Catherine Casson, longtime school representative and the chair. She is asking to not be reappointed for another term. So Ryan Broderick will replace her representing the school system for a term to June 2021. And again, the effective start of his term will be June 14th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board of Finance, to reappoint Michael Lamoth, a 4-year term to June of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. To appoint Marie O'Brien to replace Michael Fiorini, a 4-year term to June of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Zoning Commission, to reappoint William Cunningham for a 3-year term to June of 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I do have one additional appointment that was not on the list circulated to council members, and that is to appoint Tim Wang to the Opioid Task Force.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Just for the viewing public and anyone who might know of anyone interested, we have 2 vacancies on the Inland Wetlands Commission that I would be interested in getting resumes for. And I think that is it. Thank you.
Okay. You ready for the next item, Your Honor?
Yes.
Item 11, approval to submit a disaster recovery grant application for $10,000 to the Connecticut State Library for the fiscal year 2018 Historic Documents Preservation Grant Program to defray the costs associated with the recovery and restoration of wet books and documents belonging to the Assessor, Treasurer, and Personnel Departments, and authorization for Mayor or Acting Mayor to execute.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 12 is resolution regarding approval of list of program applications to obtain benefits under 2018 Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program and authorization for Mayor or Acting Mayor to execute, and there is a resolution to read.
I have that, Your Honor. Be it hereby resolved by the City Council of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, that the list of program applications as approved by the Bristol Development Authority on May 21st, 2018, to obtain benefits under the Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program is hereby approved, and that the mayor or acting mayor is authorized to submit such applications and any and all other documents relating to the Neighborhood Assistance Act to the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services.
Second.
Second. Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote starting on my far left.
Yes.
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 And the chair votes yes. Please reflect that Councilman Perleski is not voting.
Now, is he not voting or abstaining?
Not, but, well, are you voting on this one?
Or are you
We're on
technically
Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit.
Are you abstaining?
Okay, no, he is abstaining from this vote.
And the next item is resolution regarding approval of 2018-2019 annual action plan for the Community Development Block Grant and authorization for mayor or acting mayor to execute. And there is a resolution to read.
Does someone have the resolution?
I have the resolution.
Councilman Hahn?
Be it hereby resolved by the City Council of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, that the 2018-2019 annual action plan for the Community Development Block Grant, as approved by the Bristol Development Authority on May 21st, 2018, is hereby approved, and the mayor or acting mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents relating to this grant, including final agreements, and to submit to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Be it further resolved that the 2018-2019 annual action plan be referred to the Board of Finance for action regarding the appropriation of funds.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, starting on my far right.
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes. Councilman Proleski will be abstaining for this vote.
Okay, and the next item is to refer the downtown Bristol tax and increment financing district master plan to the Planning Commission for a study of the plan and a written advisory opinion that includes whether the plan is consistent with the city's plan of conservation and development.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none? Oh, Justin Malley.
Just want to make sure, do we get language referred to ordinance as well? It was on the end of the
Sure.
executive summary.
We can amend the motion if the maker and seconder agree to also add a referral to the ordinance committee.
I'll make an amendment that item 14 be referred to the ordinance committee.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So to go back to the full vote, which is now the referral to the Planning Commission and the Ordinance Committee, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business to come before the City Council? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Good meeting.